Okay, so we are up to a new perek of Tehilim. Because we have some new people here, then I'm gonna go ahead and like narrate more than usual what we're doing. So we've been doing what we call the Kabbalas Shabbos chapters this year, which is chapters 95 through 99, and then going back to 29. So the thing is Kabbalas Shabbos chapters is not a real thing because obviously Kabbalas Shabbos was a very late minhag, and then like I don't even know when they started saying like the perakim of Tehillim, but in the text of Tehilim, 95 through 99 is part of a unit. And we actually did 100 because it's part of the same unit. So now we're going back here. And the only reason we're going back here is because that's the Kabbalas Shabbos thing. And that's what we said we were going to do. But it turns out, I think this actually is, at least according to one opinion, in line with what we've been doing. Okay, so this is a fresh perek. Our procedure is we'll start off by going through and translating it according to our own thoughts, like our own understanding of the language. And then we will consult three different English translations just to shore ours up, and then we'll start analyzing and theorizing. And this is going to take a minimum of two sessions, if not longer. Yeah. Also, TBD whether I give shiur next week. I'm traveling. I'm out of town next week, so we'll see. I might want to spend time with my dad, which is the 1 year I get to 1 week of the year that I get to spend time with him. So, okay. Mizmor LeDavid. Havu Lashem Bnei Elim, Havu Lashem Kavod Va'oz. What do you say? Well, so Mizmor David. So we've been translating this as a Psalm of David. Okay, and we always note like that there are like code words in there in the sense of like Mizmor. We always forget this, right? Mizmor David means that I think Ruach he got Ruach HaKodesh and then said it. I think that's one because I think it's LeDavid Mizmor means it started with David and then it ended up like a Mizmor. This one is like he got the Ruach HaKodesh, but we haven't figured out what that means, so we're ignoring it. Okay, Havu Lashem Bnei. So this you can see the word Havu appears a lot here. Yeah, so we said I think we had Havu before, right? And we said Havu could mean two things. It could either mean a lashon of ziruz of like rousing up, like Hava nischak malo, like the Egyptians said, like come let us outsmart them, or the Migdal Bavel Hava nil bana levinim. I think. Let me just make sure I'm not making that up. They said, yeah, Hava nil bana levinim. Let's just see what it says here and if it's the same thing. BDB dictionary says, oh yeah. So the other one is give. Okay, Yahav, which is an Aramaic word. Okay, so Havu is either command form of give or it's like let's go. I think here, because of the lamids, Havu Lashem, I think we're going to translate it as give.
Why, like, two?
I think we're going to see that a lot of stuff is being given to Hashem. Do I have another one? Yes. And Josh came just in time for me to ask, Josh, what does Havu mean? What's your preferred? Render, right? So render unto Hashem. Okay, yeah. Let's just say give to Hashem. All right, Bnei Elim.
The children of
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sons. So literally means sons of the mighty or powerful, right? But Il. I mean, I don't know. I guess what do you call it? That's weird. YUTorah put a dash there because it treated it as the name of God, but I don't think we hold by multiple gods, right? But Elim is like the plural of El, of like gods, right? So sons of the powerful or sons of sons of God. We'll say it was sons of the powerful because that seems to be less controversial for now. Okay, Havu Lashem. Oh, and I think we have to add our favorite letter. Oh, right, because it's not saying give to Hashem, sons of the powerful. It's saying give to Hashem, and then it's addressing sons of the powerful. Now it'll tell us what to give to Hashem. Havu Lashem kavod va'oz.
Hashem, honor and strength.
Yeah, honor and strength. Yeah, we'll have to decide whether honor is our best translation here, but that's fine for now. All right, Havu Lashem. Oh, I didn't do the numbers. Havu Lashem kavod shemo. You guys really like the renders, right? Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go with give just because it's shorter, but yeah, you can say render. Yeah, give to Hashem kavod shemo.
Honor of.
Yeah. So this is kind of why this is kind of why I'm a little hesitant, not hesitant, a little reluctant to say honor. Is there a better word than honor here? Glory, good. Yeah, okay, yeah. Racheli said is the one I was thinking also. So let's change these to glory and then the glory of his name. Okay. Hishtachavu Lashem b'hadras kodesh. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just say bow down just because it's more normal English to Hashem.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, what's your go-to translation for Hadar or Hadras? So there's two. I think there's two like categories of meaning.
Like beauty.
Okay, so one is beauty. Do you are you saying that word because of a specific association?
Shiur.
Yeah, right. So hidur, like hidur mitzvah, is like beauty. The other way is I don't know the other.
It's like concealment.
Oh, so that I think is Aramaic, right? Hadar is like to return. Like, yeah, I think that's it. I don't think it's concealment. So I think the other one is majesty. Okay. So why did I like majesty here? There was a reason in the perek why I like majesty. I'm gonna go with majesty, but I'll put the other one also. Majesty, or beauty, kodesh. Yeah. So really of I guess I know it doesn't say the there, but of sanctity, right? Or holiness. Okay, fine. All right. Kol Hashem al Hamayim. Yeah, the voice of Hashem, not God. The voice of Hashem is on the waters. Kel hakavod, herein.
The glorious God, I guess.
Yeah, the God of glory, I think. Kel hakavod, right? God of glory. By the way, Racheli in the chat said for Hadar is a splendor. I think that's another good one also. It reminds me of an artificial sweetener a little bit too much. The glory of God, the God of glory, herein. We've had that a couple times. No, with like re'emin, but it's the verb. Nope, re'in with an ayin. It is something noisy. Thunders, yeah. Okay, thunders. This is the verb for thunders, right? Hashem al Maim Rabim. This is a weird one. Hashem al Maim Rabim. Yeah. You would say on? Yeah. Yeah, I'd say above or over. Yeah. Just saying Hashem on waters sounds a little like I don't know either, but like I don't know. Like my instinct is to like if I have a choice of preposition to de-anthropomorphize it, as opposed to picturing like I picture like a duck is on the water. I don't picture Hashem on the water because you can't picture Hashem. I know over is also yeah.
Say on, you don't necessarily mean like physically on, versus above and over imply like
transcendent,
like actually like positionally above.
Right, but above also can imply like a transcendence. I think yeah. All right, let's say above for now. Okay, Hashem above the now. What about Maim Rabim? That's what it sounds like, right?
Yeah.
Above, is it the above many waters?
Like the water.
It'd be mighty waters.
Yeah. So mighty waters is what most of the Mefarshim say. Okay. So we'll do that. I just wanted to mighty waters. I was gonna say we're gonna see that all the three Mefarshim, I think, or not all three Mefarshim, all three translators translated differently. But this is Rav like what's an example of this? Where we use Rav for great. I mean, this Rav is great as opposed to Rav is numerous. Okay. Where are we now? Maim Rabim. Okay, 4. Kol Hashem ba'koach. This is a weird one.
Voice of Hashem in strength or with strength?
Yeah, is in strength or power, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna say we have not used power yet, right? So I'll use power because we used strength earlier for O's. Is in power. Kol Hashem behadar. Yeah, so this is why I think I like the majesty as a translation, because I feel like saying the voice of Hashem is in beauty is just like incongruous mushal, is in majesty. I don't know. For me, that's more. I mean, both of them need to be explained, but yeah. Okay, fine. Let's do that. Okay. Oh, nice. Okay. Where are we at now? We're at 5, right? Thanks. Yeah. Kol Hashem shover arazim.
With Hashem
breaks cedars. Okay. Vayishaber Hashem. You want to say splinters? Is that an art school thing?
No, I just like.
Oh, you just like it? Yeah, it does sound good. Yeah, I think actually we are going to want to say break for some reason.
As the next one.
Well, okay, no, we'll see. Vaishaber Hashem es arze halavanon. You could say shatters, I think, right? Vaishaber. Yeah, I don't know the difference between the nuance difference between shover. Why it has this Vayishaber is in the future or imperfect. By the way, Vayishaber Hashem es arze halavanon.
Hashem will splinter the cedars of Lebanon.
Okay, splinter the cedars of Lebanon. Yeah, Moshe?
I was gonna say smash. I know because in our school uses that for one of the verbs of destroying in the medium paragraph.
Okay, that's yeah. Smash is good. I mean, it is an intense version. In the chat, hovers. So hovers. I assume Racheli is saying that for it's confusing. There's two Rachelis for yeah, for all. I don't want to introduce a verb that's not there. If it's just a preposition, I want to avoid using introducing a verb that's not there if at all possible. Okay. Yeah, right. Okay, Vayarki, this is a fun one. Vayarki dame como egel levanon, the Syrion como ven re'emim. So Yarki dame.
They will dance.
Okay, okay. So it is from the root of dance, but he will dance them. Yeah, it's a he fail, right? He will, yeah, he will make them dance. And we'll see that the English translations take that in a slightly different way, like a calf of Lebanon. Sorry. No, this is not the way you say it. He will make them dance like a calf. What is he making dance like a calf? Lebanon, the Syrion, those are the things he's making. So Lebanon and Syrion. Something about the crossover of Sirion and calf makes me always associate to sirloin, like sirloin steak, but that is not how it is. Maybe I should go like that, Syrion, to avoid that association. Okay.
I think would prance be a better word? Because you think
I think not, and I think dance is also not a good word, which is what you're picking up on. But you'll see it in the end of. Actually, no. Hold on just a second here. Kamo ben re'emin. Like
the baby,
yeah, like a young re'emim. Okay, well, so whatever you hold the re'emim are. I know our school doesn't like to say what it is. So I think the dancing that we're talking about here, because we're talking about Lebanon and Syrian, which are regions, right? Regions don't dance. What would be a better like dance-like word? Say again? Quaking. I think quake is probably better, right? So even though that might not be the most literal translation of Rikud, I think that's probably going to be for the best here. Okay, all right, we are about halfway. More than halfway through. Okay, 7. Kol Hashem. We got back to the Kol Hashems. Kol Hashem chotzev lahavos eish. This is the one that confuses me the most. Oops. Yeah. So I also would translate it as hues. Okay, but yeah, flames of fire. So the funny thing is that yeah, how do you hue flames, right? In fact, if I go to a flame and I go like that, yeah, my hand goes right through it and I get burned, right? You can't like hue it. Another way to say it is, hold on. Okay, Bnei Elim. Okay, hold on. We're not doing interpretations yet. We're just translating. Okay, so this is we'll make, I'll ignore your comment for now and then we'll read later. Okay. Right now we're doing minimalist our translation, then the other translations with minimalistic commentaries, and then we'll start analyzing and speculating. I like to keep things separate. And again, because there are new people here, I want to express why this is important, and I do this in all my shiurim in Mishlei and Tehilim, is that it is important to ask all the questions that you can first, because if you start to develop theories actively, I mean, you can't help but like have intuitions. If you start to develop theories actively, it will often blind you to questions or distort the way that you relate to the questions. So in my view, you really need to, I mean, look, there are levels of genius where like you can like glance at it and like immediately start coming up with stuff. But most of us, when we do that, start projecting or start taking preconceived notions and then putting them onto the text. So for the sake of discipline, we always ask all the questions first, and then we move into like analysis and theorizing. So that's my procedure. That's my way of doing it. Okay. So I was going to say another word. What's another word that's close to that's close to hewing that you also do with stone. So hewing though is more than that. Etching is like writing in the thing. Yeah. What's the word for when you like? No. All right, fine. So the other one is cleave.
Cleaving?
Yeah, cleaving. Okay, cleaving. Yeah, cleaves flames of fire. Right. So I think not that helps us with the imagery here, but like hewing, when you hew stone, you're like cutting stone and taking it out of the quarry. So cleaving, I think, is going to be better than this. I think, all things being equal. Okay. And by all things, I mean our ignorance. Kol Hashem yachil midbar. Yachil Hashem midbar kadesh. There's also a strange phrasing here.
Hashem will give hope.
Good guess, but no. So this is from Chil Urada. What's another? What's a phrase? In Shofros. Atani glezaban kuvadecha. What was it? Yeah, tremble. Yeah, right. The voice of Hashem. What do we say? Kol chal mimeka, trembles before you. Right. So in Shofros, the voice of Hashem, Yachil midbar. Yeah, causes the wilderness to tremble. Yachil Hashem midbar kadesh.
Hashem will.
Yeah, I just say will. Yeah. Oops, sorry. Cause Hashem will cause the wilderness. Yeah, the Kadesh wilderness. Yeah, Kadesh wilderness to tremble. Okay. Kol Hashem yicholel ayalos. Oh, this is the hardest one to translate. Okay. Kol Hashem yicholel ayalos. It's also hard to say. Vayechasof ya'aros uvehechalo kulo omer kavod. Whenever I daven, whenever I'm at home for there's only two places I daven Kabbalas Shabbos for the Amud. When I'm in Seattle and when I'm here in the summer and we do early Shabbos and I'm hosting, I'm hungry. But I can never figure out how Chazanim like make it through this without stumbling. It's like a tongue twister. Yeah. So Yecholel is a weird word, right? So the voice of Hashem. So what would you have guessed? I'll tell you what it is later. You're not going to guess this one unless you really have read it or you know it. But what would you guess like the Cholel is? Yeah, Tamar?
It looks to me like the word for desecrate.
Right. So first thing that leaps out to you is desecrate, like Chil Hashem, right? But then that sounds, well, first of all, what are ayalos?
Animals.
Yeah, they're like deers or gazelles, hinds, hearts. I don't know what the differences are between them. Oh, hold on. Ayala, if you can talk, what does your name mean?
Ram.
Ram?
Deer, female deer.
Okay, female deer. Yeah, right. Because ram's a male. Yeah. So, and these are females, right? So, deer, right? So desecrates deer does not sound good. That sounds like if you're in a cult, you do that, right? So what's another possibly for cholel? Yecholel? Hollows, right? Like a flute is a chalil or a yeah. Oh yeah, right. Racheli F. Flam.
Yeah, I think we can also say that it's like it makes them dance from the word right.
Yeah, okay, good.
Machol.
So that is how I think all the Mefarshim take it. Okay. And oops, that's my email. Let me just show you. Let's just see what the BDB does with this. And it's actually a little bit more graphic than that. 29. Oh, there's a third possibility, by the way, in Hazinu. Vatishkach kel mecholalecha. You forgot the God who is mecholalecha. It's also a weird word. So it's interesting because the word mechila is not a biblical Hebrew word. The rabbis invented it, but they have that as an asmachta. But it means to create in Hazinu. Oh. So yicholel is to whirl, dance, or writhe. Okay. So So writhe is probably the best one here, but it's a specific kind of writhing. So Hashem, so I'm going to go ahead. I can't get this imagery out of my head here. Convulses the deer. Okay. And the implication here is, I think everyone says this, in birth pangs. Okay, meaning that he causes them to like get startled and then to give birth. Okay, we would not have gotten that. Okay, yeah. But the shaking is the or the trembling is the correct like shorish there. And it is a double lamed. It's really from the same shorish as Yachiel. Okay. Vayecha sof ya'aros. This is also a hard one. This one I did not know. Well, ya'ara. What is ya'ara? Forest. It sounds like something like that, right? You guess from context. Let's see. Anyone? We got a reveals. Yeah. So I also, where did I think that it meant something like reveal? There's a puzzle coming to my mind, but I don't have it here. It is reveal, but in a specific way, to strip off or to strip bare. So to lay bare is probably the closest thing to reveal. And so, yeah, right. So he strips forest bare. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now here's one thing also, I just want to call your attention to this. When I was doing this, preparing this with my chavrusa, we were, we don't really know the ta'amim, the laning for Tehilim. I mean, I know Sephardim do, some Sephardim do, but the way it's written, the asnachta is over here. So the way it's supposed to read is Kol Hashem Yecholol Ayalos V'Yachasof Ya'aros Uvehechalo. Pause. Kulo Omer Kavod. But that makes no sense. Okay? And all the translations we saw treated it as though the asnachta is here. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and go on that assumption. Because you'll see why, right? Well, let's translate it first. Let's translate the way that I want to translate it. Uvehechalo Kulo Omer Kavod.
His heichal.
Yeah, and in his, how do you translate heichal? Yeah, in his sanctuary. Hulo omer kavod.
He's entirely called glory.
Okay, I see why you say he is entirely. I think hulo is like kulam, like yeah, all. I'm gonna say declare just because it sounds fancier. Declare glory, right? Okay, so yeah, so in other words, if you put the comma here, you get the voice of Hashem convulses the deer in birth pangs. He strips forest bare and in his sanctuary. All declare glory, which just doesn't make any sense. So I think, there's one other case, just as a methodology thing, like, if someone ever asks you, do you have to stick with the ta'amim when translating a pasuk? So the general answer is yes, but there's a famous exception, and I think this is a good one to know about. Anyone know the famous exception for when a prominent commentator ignores the ta'amim? It's in Berashit. Yeah. So it's in Berashit Gimel, after the Chet, right before Hashem kicks Adam and Chava out. So what you're supposed to say, so Vayomer Hashem Elokim, Hein ha'adam haya ke'achad mimenu lada'as tov v'ra. Ke'achad mimenu. Ke'achad mimenu, right? But the Onklos translates it as V'amar Hashem Elokim ha'adam hava. Oh, did I translate it? Sorry, I didn't translate it. Hashem Elokim said, behold, the man has become like one of us to know good and bad. Okay. But the way, what do you call it? The way Unklos translates it is, V'amar Hashem Elokim ha'adam hava yechidai ba'alma. Man has become unique in the world. Okay. Meaning, minet lamida tov ubish. From him to know good and bad. So meaning the way he translates it is, hein ha'adam haya ke'echad, comma, mimenu ladas tov v'ra. And the Rambam reads it the same way in Hilchos Tshuva, perek he. Okay. So like, and I'm sure this is not the only example, but this is just the famous example. So, the Bali Masorah knew what they were doing, but you see that the Mefarshim don't always go that way. And, there's, so you can't take liberties. Okay. We are up to 10, I think. Hashem, this is a weird one also. Hashem lamabul yashav, vayeshiv ad Hashem melech l'olam.
return the flood.
So this is Yashav as in like Yoshev
During
in
the
past
bubble.
tense. Yeah, Hashem sat. So yeah, the lamed is awkward either way, right? During is one way to say it,
Mom is during the
or
bubble.
for. Yeah, the flood. Vayeshev Hashem melech leolam.
That restored kingship.
So this is the same thing. Yeshiv is from Yoshev also, same verb.
And restores.
No.
That.
Sits, yeah. And Hashem sits as king forever. Okay. Last pasuk. Hashem oz le'amo yitain. Hashem yivarech es amo b'shalom.
Hashem gives renders to his nation strength.
Ooh, oh, you brought back the render. Okay, right. So Hashem,
The other way.
yeah, it is the okay. Good observation. Hashem will give, right? His people strength. Hashem yivarech es amo b'shalom. His nation with peace. Okay. I don't know why I switched from people to nation. I'll just say both. Okay. So here's our working translation. Okay. So now let's go through and Moshe, do you need a sheet? You can pass that.
Yeah, fine. That's what I think of. In Hollow, we say Eharim Rakdu Elim.
Yeah.
And that's the skip. So isn't
I think that's also quake. The mountains quake. Because to me, skip.
well they're not it's Kit Elim. So it can't be like quaking like but you're saying
Oh, I see what you're saying. Meaning it's likening the motion of the mountains. I thought you were going with the Vayar Kidem. It's likening the mountains to skipping rams. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
that would make sense. You're comparing to an animal that you say like skip or
Yeah. This is I think you're talking about these ayalos here, or you're talking about the midbar and the Syrian. What are you commenting on?
I'm not Ayalos.
Yeah, right. So here is not even a metaphor. This is like he literally is like making them convulse, it seems.
Okay.
Yeah. At least that's how the Mefarshim take it. All right. So let's now look at our three translations just to compare notes here. And as always, like some of them I like, some of them I don't like. Art scroll, a Psalm of David. Oh, and by the way, let me actually just forecast the methodology here. Okay, so review of methodology. So the way we learn Tehilim is I have the theory that I call the pivot point theory, which is that in every perek, you can find a you can find a place where it abruptly shifts in theme, in mood, in voice, in tone, in imagery. There's some abrupt shift. Okay, in some of these it's very obvious. The starter perek that I like to do is Kabbalas or is Mizmor Shiur Shabbos, which I realize we're gonna do, right? That's part of Kabbalas Shabbos. So and that's my favorite one. And I have not. We've done it before, but we did it at the very beginning, I think. So I'm really excited to do that again. If you look at that one, the pivot point is very obvious. So as we read through these, start to ask yourself, where might the pivot point be? Okay, here we go. Our scroll, a Psalm of David. Render, there you go with your renders. Render unto Hashem, you son. So when you put that with a sirloin, yum. Okay, render unto Hashem, you sons of the powerful. Render unto Hashem honor and might. Render unto Hashem on the honor due his name. By the way, when we see this, you'll see all the Mefarshim, I think, say the honor due or the glory due to his name. Okay. Not that we have to change ours, but I think it's probably because the glory of his name, how can you give him the glory of his name? It's already there. So yeah, right. So due his name sounds more like you're I don't know, voicing it or something. Okay. Bow to Hashem in the beauty of holiness. So they go with beauty there. The voice of Hashem is upon the waters. The glory of God thunders. Oh, sorry, the God of glory thunders. Hashem is upon vast waters. So they say vast for Rabim. So I think vast is like many, the way I want to say, but many waters sounds like the name of Native American, many waters. I think we don't use the word many for waters in English, but in Hebrew, it is plural, right? Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. Because I'm associating to Pleniku, my favorite chief. Okay, the voice of Hashem comes in power. They add in the word comes because they feel the awkward need for a verb there, as opposed to saying the voice of Hashem in power or is in power. The voice of Hashem comes in majesty. The voice of Hashem breaks the cedars. Hashem shatters. Oh, it switched from because it was a shover and vayishaber. So breaks is shover. I think that is a real thing. PL. I think like the intensive form. I don't really know my grammar.
What is the English? What is the difference?
Is shatters is more intensive. Yeah, like you didn't just break a bone, you shattered the bone, right? You'd be like, so Hashem shatters the cedars of Lebanon. He makes them prance about like a calf. What a sissy move, prancing. I know, right? Yeah, but I don't know. Can't do. I guess calves prance. I feel like I've seen videos of that.
Well, I feel like that's the fun.
Yeah, you feel justified. Yeah. Yeah, Lebanon, Syrian, like young Ramim. Yeah, that is more like the imagery you wanted to say, right?
By the way, I know trees shatter when lightning hits, so in terms of
Yeah.
that imagery exists away from Hashem, that's not helping.
Oh yeah, right. What was I gonna say? The voice of Hashem cleaves with shafts of fire. So they sneak in the preposition of with. I don't think you can read it that way though, unless like you want to add stuff in. It says, Kol Hashem chotzev lahavos eish, not bil lahavos eish. So lahavos eish is the object that he is chotzev, not the thing the implement he's using. So I don't like what article does here. The voice of Hashem convulses the wilderness. Oh, it uses convulses there also. Oh, okay. Sorry. I got the convulses wrong. I jumped the gun. Premature convulsions. The voice of Hashem convulses the wilderness. Hashem convulses the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of Hashem frightens the hinds. Hinds is that other weird word for, yeah. So it says frightens for Yecholel and strips the forest bare. While in his temple, all will proclaim glory. See, they put the asnachta before uvehechelel. All proclaim glory. What was that? Adding while, right. Hashem sat enthroned at the flood. Hashem sits enthroned as king forever. Hashem will give might to his nation. Hashem will bless his nation with peace. Okay, so that's our scroll. Next is Neiman Novetsky. For those who don't know, Neiman Novetsky is the scholar on duty at YUTorah, who also happens to be the wife of the YUTorah founder. And she is single-handedly going and translating all of Tanakh with a masterful commentary where she attempts to capture the nuances of the Hebrew, but also in the footnotes. What happened to the footnotes? Wait, what's going on here? Oh, I'm at 11. That's why. There we go. In the footnotes, she does two things. She captures the Hebrew and all the machlokas in the Rishonim and sometimes archaeological stuff. Okay, so I didn't have room for all of it there, but we'll just click on her on the words here when we're intrigued. Okay, so like we're not intrigued of Psalm of David. A Psalm of David, a scribe. So here's an example of how she uses footnotes here. Actually, I'm going to make this single vision here. It's like what? Yeah, it's like render. A scribe. So see Ibn Ezra or similarly give. Compared to Rashi, who suggests prepare. That's the Hava in this Malo. And see Malvin, who similarly notes that often the word serves as an invitation to action, as per its usage in Bראשית, like I quoted, and Shemos, like I quoted. Hulio Moshe notes the difference between this verb and the somewhat synonymous lases, to give, suggesting that the root yahev means to set or lay out something before another, while the root nasan refers to giving something into another's hand. All right, fine. All right. So ascribe to Hashem, O mighty ones. Oh, she does the O. Ascribe to Hashem glory and might. Ascribe to Hashem glory, do his name. Again, you have do his name. Bow down to Hashem in the splendor of his holiness. Hashem's voice is upon the waters. The God of glory thunders. Hashem is upon vast waters. Hashem is all. See Ibn Ezra that the word hirim, thundered, from the previous clause applies to this one as well, so that it should be read as if written Hashem thundered upon, meaning like Kol Hashem al Hamaim Kel Hakavod Hirim, and then Hirim Hashem al Maim Rabim, like Hashem thundered upon the waters. That actually makes the anthropomorphism better, right? Because it's saying that the thunder of Hashem is upon the waters, not Hashem himself. Okay, Hashem's voice is full of power. So that's also an interesting one, right? Sneaks in full of power, is in power. Hashem's voice is full of splendor. I don't know why she's doing the bet as full of. Okay, more literally, she says Hashem's voice is in power, in splendor. See even that the connotation might be that Hashem's voice is found. Oh, that's our interpretation. All right, fine. Hashem's voice breaks cedars. Hashem shatters the cedars of Lebanon. Though the same root, shaber, appears in both clauses of the verse. In this clause, it is written in the PL form, which often connotes intensity, so that break becomes shatter. That was what I was saying. Okay, he makes them skip like a calf. Vayar kidem. This translation follows the cantillation marks, which place a pause between the words Lebanon and assumes that the verb vayar kidem makes them skip, refers back to the cedars mentioned in the previous verse. Alternatively, he made Lebanon skip, with the verse breaking after the word Lebanon, and the two clauses of the verse being parallel to each other. This latter translation must assume that the mem at the end of Vayar Kidem is superfluous or a marker of intensity rather than an abbreviated form of the word osan. Okay, that's too much for me. Okay, he makes him skip like a calf, Lebanon, and Syrian, like a young wild ox. Oh, she takes the stance here that Ramim are oxen. There you go. Hashem's voice hews flames of fire. So she goes with the similar literal translation. Hashem's voice makes the wilderness tremble. Hashem makes the wilderness of Kadesh tremble. Hashem's voice makes the does calve. So that was what I was misremembering. I actually want to go back and change ours. Hashem makes, voice of Hashem makes the does calve. Funny how we use that for a glacier and for animals.
What is
Meaning that they have babies, or like they give birth.
We say can humans human?
It's a good question. Where else do we say this? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a good question. Okay, and lays the forest bare, but in his temple all say glory. Hashem sat enthroned at the flood. Let's look at the at the flood part. See if she comments on the Lamed. Oh yeah, here we go. The verse more literally reads Hashem sat for the flood, which makes it sound like he got good seats, but cease foreknow that the connotation is that Hashem sat on his throne, and then she goes into interpretation here. Okay. Hashem sits enthroned as king forever. May Hashem give strength. Oh, so she this is another thing in Tehillim, right? So the future we know can either mean, well, first of all, you can play fast and loose with tenses in Tehillim. But the future often means either it will or it's a bakasha, it's a request. May Hashem. So here I think it does sound like a tefillah. May Hashem give strength to his people. May Hashem bless his people with peace. Okay, last translation is altar. So this is our most secular translation. He says a David psalm, and by the way, I only included the footnotes here that did not give interpretations, that just gave what do you call like word stuff. A Psalm of David grant.
David psalm.
Yeah. The verb for grant or give, yahev, is relatively rare synonym, although the standard term in Aramaic. For the more common natan, perhaps it may actually have been called out in its imperative form, havu, as here on ceremonial occasions, having something of the effect of hail.
What is imperative?
A command. Yeah. Which is, this is a command, right? Okay. Grant to the Lord, O sons of God. Oh, now, by the way, he mentions the same thing that Seth did in the chat about that there is something going on here of like imagery of, some mention of other gods. He has I didn't even read it. I just glanced at it. He has a whole thing about like how this was modeled after some like, Baal, Ugaritic, something. So we'll get into that if we need to. I'm not interested in it right now. Okay. Grant to the Lord, O sons of God. Grant to the Lord glory and strength. Grant to the Lord his name's glory. Bow to the Lord in his holy majesty. The Lord's voice is over the waters. The God of glory thunders. The Lord is over the mighty waters. So he says over, and mighty. The Lord's voice in power. The Lord's voice in majesty. The Lord's voice breaking cedars. The Lord shatters the Lebanon cedars. Excuse me. And he makes Lebanon dance like a calf, Syrian like a young wild ox. The Lord's voice hews flames of fire. The Lord's voice makes the wilderness shake. The Lord makes the Kadesh wilderness shake. The Lord's voice brings on the birth pangs of does. There you go. And lays bare the forest. And in his palace all says glory. The Lord was enthroned at the flood. The Lord is enthroned as king for all time. May the Lord give strength to his people. May the Lord bless his people with peace. Okay. So as usual, I'll go back and change ours later on before the next session. But I do want to change do we do shattering? Yeah, we have to do shattering. We'll shatter. Okay. So where is the pivot point? Yes.
So I was thinking the pivot point is after, what did I say? Between 4 and 5.
Between 4 and 5, meaning you've got like this and you've got like this. Okay. So what is your reasoning for the pivot?
So it starts off talking about generic glory of Hashem.
Okay.
And then it's the destruction of Hashem, or like
Hashem's acts of destruction.
Hashem, like not only destruction, but like Hashem bringing like power to
Okay.
natural.
I hear that. Yeah, right. That's a good observation. I did not notice that. Yeah. In fact,
Kind of switches to a different name. last
you
two
could
weeks.
say that you could do a hinge, right? Because voice of Hashem is in power, is still abstract enough to be confined to just the normal heavenly governance, but then the power is like the basis of all the other destructive stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good theory. So hold on, I'm just gonna write this down here. So we got pivot point theories. So we've got Isaiah, who says 1 through 4 and 5 through 11. Okay.
Isaiah, isn't talking about, the God of Lord thunders and he's above mighty waters. Isn't that fucking more nature, which is more present in the latter half?
It's very
Well,
distant.
the whole thing
It's
is
not affecting it.
the whole thing does have nature, right? You're not denying that. You're just
Yeah,
saying,
but it's not affecting it at that point.
Right.
Every time you try
It's
breaking
from
from
here.
pieces. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you get the impression like not to bring in the genre of cosmic horror in relation to Hashem, but like this vast force looming over the earth that you see and you see as powerful, and then boom, like destruction. Like that's kind of like the two halves. Yeah, that's really interesting. Okay, anyone else have a different theory? Yeah, Moshe. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Moshe, go ahead.
Okay, and I guess it was I keep him, like Isaiah said, except that I would, yes, I do everything he said, except I would include another pivot point at, starting at 9.
Okay, another one, like a new one, or going back? Just a
think
new
one.
one. Okay. What do we never use we use gray, I think.
Yeah,
Oh, hold on.
I was gonna start.
Where would you put 4, by the way?
4.
Yeah. As part of 1 through like
I
the
probably would just put as, I put out 1 through 4.
okay. Yeah. Sorry. So and so what would your justification for this division be?
So I would actually, I was originally inclined to include up till the stripping the forest bare and include it into the middle, because then the final two psukim talk about talking about more about God's. I guess I might have an idea for that, but they don't focus on destruction anymore.
That is true. I mean, well, stripping forest bare.
Well, so yeah,
And
then
the
I
flood.
remembered- okay, I didn't look. I just happen to remember.
Yeah.
A parish on that is not talking, that takes it as a metaphor
Okay.
for something else, and that's why I'm inclined to.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Joshua. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And why that? Oops, sorry, that was the wrong color.
Yeah, 1 and 2 are things that like we have to do. That like we should do like
Okay, good.
recognition, and then 3 through 11 are just kind of like realities, or like I'm not saying it well, but just like
I mean, it's about what Hashem does, right? Yeah. Okay. That's a good observation. Yeah, Isaiah.
Yeah, I was gonna say something like what Moshe wanted to say at the end.
Yeah.
So like maybe 10 and 11 are Hashem. It's kind of like Hashem relating to the nation, because even the flood was really for man.
Wait, sorry. Are you saying that 1 through 9 is
No,
one?
like
Oh,
within my original
okay.
earlier theory.
Yeah.
So like maybe you could say 10 and 11 are like a new theme of like Hashem now is like talking about his relationship to man.
Okay.
Because even the flood, I would say, is like wasn't just nature; it was also like man.
Right. So Hashem.
I think the confusing part is that because 10 is like very far in the past, and 11 is like in the future.
Yeah.
So I think it's hard to.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I hear that. Hold on a second. And then Joshua was, this is what we do, and then 3 through 11 is what Hashem does. Okay. Anyone else have any other theories? I was thinking that this is more of just in terms of the subject, that I wonder if you can make the argument that, well, let's put it this way. 3 through 9 are all about the voice of Hashem. Okay. And then 1 and 2 and 10 and 11 are not. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, right.
They're non-comprehensible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a positive definition of that. It's just more of like, it's clear that 3 through 9 is one thing. And so I would look for another thing here. And again, I know that sometimes we have like, a triple division, but I always like having, 2. So that's why I was like looking for that. Yeah, Moshe?
Yeah, as a side request, do you know if you can search up or whatever tool is to search how many times it appears in Tanakh of Havu? Because Havu also appears in the second in Sadi Gvav, Shir Hashem.
Yeah.
The actual phrase of Havu, Havu Hashem because I mean Havu Hashem Kavod Ba'oz, Havu Hashem Kavod Shema. So
Yeah, right. So in Tehilim, yeah, it looks like all of them are in 29 except for in 96, which is the ones that we do. Which we've learned. Yeah, that's interesting.
Oh, that's 6. All right.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start getting questions here now. Okay. Not analyzing what are the I think for this one, it's interesting. I don't know if you noticed this, but we have 2 modes when we do our analysis of Tehilim. The short ones we really do total analyses of trying to understand everything and asking all the questions. But the long ones we just try to get the main ones. But we'll see what happens here. Yeah, Joshua? Yeah, questions. Yeah.
Yeah. What is the voice of Hashem?
Yeah. So that's a main question here. Is 3 through in let's go. Yeah, Gimel. How do I like to do this? So I'd like to do the Hebrew. Gimel through Tes is what is the voice of Hashem? Yeah, idea.
I find it kind of funny that like he's doing all this talking and destroying things and stripping bare and stuff in 3 through 9, but then he just sits during the flood.
That is funny. Yeah. Okay. That's a good question. So, why portray Hashem's as actively destroying in 3 through 9, but just sitting during the flood, which is arguably the most destructive thing that's happened on Earth? That's a great question. Right. I mean, I do think that sitting as king is implied here, but I think it's still a good question about like it doesn't even say Hashem brought the flood. Yeah. Racheli?
Okay, one is simple. First of all, what's Bnei Elim? And then also are the waters that are referred to earlier on, like in Gimel and I think it's just Gimel, like is that referencing the flood? Like is that related?
Okay, yeah. Are the only 2 references to the waters that and the flood?
I'm trying to see if I think that's it.
Yeah. So, which waters are these? Yeah. Are they a reference to the flood?
And then one more question that I have is, I'm not sure exactly how to word it, but I think it's interesting that it gives Hashem like the same action of sitting like during the flood and then also as king forever. Like, I don't know how to word that exactly.
Yeah, so let's ask that as saying, what is the common denominator of Hashem sitting during the flood and as king forever? Yeah, Isaiah. Oh, sorry, and then Moshe after. Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Of like there's like geographical references with like Levano and Syria and Midbar Kadesh, and then also like it references the trees and then the trees of Lebanon and then Midbar and Midbar Kadesh. Like why does it do that also?
Right. So are you asking about the specificity of the
why the geographical references?
Yeah.
And that other question also. Why does it mention
the cedars of Lebanon?
The items and then it mentions them in a geographical place, like the trees, and then it's the trees of Lebanon.
Okay, yeah. So I that one I'm not so sure. I think, in other words, the cedars of Lebanon are like a known cedars. Like, and I feel like that's used a lot about like the most mighty. That'd be like saying like the redwoods in America. But I do think the specificity of the regions and stuff is a good question. Which pasukim is that? That's 6 and And then Midbar Kadesh is where? 8. 6 and 8 is why the specificity of these locations. And 5, which one was 5? Is the yes. I just don't. I mean, you could say that. All right, I'll say it anyway. Fine. I mean, the reason why also is not to give this as the answer, but like if this is referring to events, then that might be a reason to mention it. Moshe and then Racheli.
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
The first one is, what's the relationship between whoever is supposed to, whoever the commands are directed to, and then the God's destructive power?
Yeah. So let's first say, who is this command directed to, and then
What's that?
Yeah.
Commands
What is
praising Hashem?
Yeah, this really is a good question on the pivot, Josh's pivot point, right? Is that I'm just going to list this as a separate question. What is the relationship between these give commands and the theme of destruction that follows? Yeah, and then your other question?
It's not really
Or observation? Yeah.
What stage of the Messianic process?
No, you're making assumptions. Yeah. Well, but we
the Kabbalas had some sort of idea.
Yeah. Okay. So the question is I cleaves piece by mistake. Okay. What is the subject and or historical setting of this perek? Right? Yeah. I mean, I know one person who agrees with you is the Metzudas David.
The Radak doesn't say anything?
I didn't look at Radak yet. Yeah. Well, I got to say the fact that I said this morning, because I said it this morning because I couldn't wait. We found a censored Metzudas David. So I was learning with Ken, and I was using the Toras Chaim edition, and he was using the standard Mikros Gedolos, and then I also checked on YUTorah. The standard version deletes all references to non-Jewish leaders.
Standard version is on where?
Is even the one on YUTorah, and then the kind of just regular Mikros Gedolos, and it just deletes it like. Well, actually, in most cases, it just deletes the word to make the word like it just grammatically doesn't make sense, and in other cases, it switches it. So I knew that censorship happens. I know it. I've just never seen it in the Metzudas before because he was late. He was in the 1700s, and I don't know where he was. But like, I'm shocked that I use Metzudas all the time. He's a tier 3 commentator, and like I've just never seen him censored. So I was learning with the Toras Chaim, and Ken was learning with the Mikros Gedolos. And when I was reading, he said like the words you're reading are not there in my edition.
The Toras Chaim is uncensored.
Yeah, the Toras Chaim is the uncensored one. Yeah. Racheli?
Okay, first question. I just don't understand the imagery for Pasuk Zion, like what it means that Hashem cleaves.
Yes. Yeah.
Hashem cleaves flames of fire.
Yeah.
And then also this might just be, I don't know if Isaiah was saying this, but when it says like the specificity of the locations, like why does it first say the non-specific version? Like both times it says like the voice of Hashem. Okay.
I'm not so bothered by that. I think that's
it's just like poetic.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
How does this whole perek and Tehilim culminate in that last part?
Yes. Okay. Good. So, I actually did want to read. Okay. So Alter makes this move. Robert Alter in his translations makes this move where he has this theory that like a lot of the perakim were edited by people who tacked on like sentiments, So he says here, he doesn't say it outright, but he does say, on may the Lord give strength to his people. Whether or not this line is a stock coda added by an editor, it does pick up a verbal motif from the beginning. This is what Isaiah said. As Israeli scholar Yitzchak Avishur has noted, the psalm starts with the verb meaning to give or to grant, an act to be directed from the divine entourage to God, and concludes with a more common synonym for the act of giving, now directed from God to Israel. So, but yeah, the question is, how does that fit in? Excuse me. And it's not just that listen, how does this last line fit in? Okay, not only is it the opposite of the type of destructiveness that is the theme of the perek, but we really don't focus explicitly on Am Yisrael, right? Here. Yeah. Until now. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, you get illusions, like you got kavod. You got like, who are we talking to? But I mean, Moshe is gonna say it's messianic, but yeah. But I think it's a good question. Yeah, Isaiah?
Like a lot of these like powerful things that happen throughout the perek seem like they could be specific instances of Hashem is making something happen. But like it kind of bothers me the hinds that are
those poor hinds.
Like that happens. That's the way of nature. That like it's I don't know, you could say it's violent or like intense, but it happens every time they give birth. Like how is that?
Oh, so I
to the other
right. So I think pshat, by the way, is that we know that even in human beings, women who are close to giving birth, if they get frightened, it could trigger contractions. So I'm taking it for granted that like the hinds are very like that. This is a thing that happens with hinds. I keep on thinking. I keep thinking Heinz ketchup when I say Heinz. So that's the
My question though is if this is like a thing that like just like happens, how does it fit in with the other?
Because I think it's the Kol Hashem is Yechol Ailos. This in other words, this picturing here, whatever this Kol Hashem is, loud sound, it strips the forest bare, and then all the like these sensitive animals like are thrown into birth. Moshe. Okay, who's Kulo? In test, right? Yeah, in test. I do want to ask a question about the hinds, though. Who is Kulo? And then on test. So to me, the thing that bothers me about the hinds, and it's not a big problem, but like, why focus on these animals when the rest of the perek focuses on, terrain and elements of nature, which are, non-animal and on a much grander scale. I'll say on these poor little animals, right? In other words, like it is weird. Like if you said, you're talking about the blast of the atomic bomb at Hiroshima, and you're like, and it knocked over buildings and it uprooted, dried up streams and it toppled a gopher. Like, it's too grand to then zoom in on these like little hinds.
Ever seen like the videos like there's a tsunami coming in? Like one of the things that happens is like animals know because they start running.
Right. So I feel like if you were talking about all animals, then it'd be like, okay, like the animals scatter, like in Barki Nafshi, like all the forest creatures stir, like, okay, fine. But like just this one animal. Racheli.
Can you scroll up? Oh yeah. I don't know if this is also just like a poetic thing, but is there a difference between giving Hashem glory and then giving his name glory?
Yeah, that's a fair question. On 2, right? It's 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
So I can predict what the Radak is going to say, but I won't say it. Is there a difference between giving Hashem glory and giving his name glory? Yeah, Moshe?
So I don't know if this is a fair question, but what forest is there left for God to strip after he destroys the
Okay.
Like if the Lebanon and what's the other whatever if those trees are like supposedly mighty or something that that is important enough to break them, then I guess who cares about forests, or at least say a forest of
right.
cedar trees.
I mean, I'll tell you what, I don't know if this is an answer, maybe it's an unfair answer, but as a Seattle boy, I cannot help but think of Mount St. Helens. The image, hold on a second, forest. I mean, I remember seeing this as a kid. Like this. Oh, that's a horrible resolution. There are is this better? Yeah. Like it I did not want to save. It looks like, oh, that's also horrible. I thought it said, all right, whatever. You get the idea that you could have things where like trees are knocked down, but like it stripped all of the vegetation off of the So I don't know if that's as unfair of an answer as the fairness of your question. Yeah, Joshua?
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah.
Yes. But is what's the difference between the first part and the last part? So the
Yeah.
voice of Hashem is being on the waters versus just him being on the
Right.
waters.
So you know what? I actually I'm going to expand that into a bigger question, but let's what is the difference between the first half, which talks about the voice of Hashem, and the second, which talks about Hashem, and then in general, what is the relationship between Hashem and his voice, right? Yeah. Okay. I'm sure there are more questions here, but we are at the end of our time for tonight, and I think I would like to stop. I am going to struggle with the decision about whether to cancel shiur next week, because I really should, but I don't like to interrupt it in the middle. But we'll see what happens. What?
What?
I'm going to be visiting my dad, and it's the only week in the year that I visit my dad, so I kind of want to spend time with him.
Okay.
Yeah. So just heads up, I'll be struggling and making guilty excuses. Okay. All right.
I give you permission.
Oh, thank you. Okay. All right. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for coming, and I'm looking forward to seeing what this perek yields.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
Right.